Academically, when you're an assistant professor, one of the things you would hope for is to get a very high-profile paper out the door. And we got a very nice paper accepted into Nature, which was very exciting. This is a picture of Alan and I after we got our acceptance letter from Nature. But in addition, we kind of were thinking about applications from the beginning. And so we also went to the Office of Technology Transfer at that time and told them about our invention and applied for a patent. That was really the start of a long, unexpected journey. One of the very first issues that we came upon was one of the standard issues, really. Was this just cool research? Certainly, it was cool enough to get into Nature. That's all I cared about. Was it a licensing opportunity? Was this something we could take to a diagnostic company or a therapeutic company? They would be interested enough to license the intellectual property, or was it a company? And back then, I think we were initially probably thinking of licensing it, but the issue did come up that we might think about starting a company. And back then, there was a kind of a dilemma back around this question, whose job is it to decide the answer to this? And it turns out to be a very complex answer, who decides. There's a lot of competing pressures around the university on whose job it is to decide. And it turns out to be probably no single person. Another question that came up was, how much would it cost to get to proof of concept, if not all the way to product? And this question I love to ask. I'd love to ask you here now. Like, what would be the order of magnitude? Well, the orders I get would range typically from 500,000 to 1 million to 10 million to 100 million. That's a lot of orders of magnitude. Really hard to assess that, and it assumes for each person who's answering it, where do they place this? If they place it all the way to product, and they're thinking about therapeutics in humans with clinical trials, you could go up to $1 billion if you really wanted to answer it that way. If you're thinking about diagnostics and not even doing clinical trials, then maybe 10 million might be the right answer. But this really got us thinking about this in a real way, the dollar question. And then again, there was a role of ourselves, and for some reason that I don't really even remember, I think we decided we wanted to form a company. It just sounded kind of a fun thing to do. The bottom line, honestly, was if I looked at our technology, we didn't really know what it was going to do. It was kind of cool, but we ourselves didn't have a clear idea. You can turn proteins on and off. Well, you could turn a therapeutic enzyme on or off at the site of cancer, or you could turn an enzyme on or off in a diagnostic assay. And that was kind of where our answer was, but it's not really a very satisfactory answer at the end of the day either to an investor, because you're like, well, which enzyme, and why do you want to turn an enzyme on or off at the site of cancer? Why do you want to turn an enzyme on or off in a diagnostic assay? What does that provide in an assay? That was our answer, kind of, well, let me think about that for a while.